Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. It's been a while. I know, and I apologize. I apologize for me coming back so late. But I'm back with another episode of the JT Effect. For everybody that's tuning in, I'm your host, John F. Thomas. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me. I'm going to be talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. So definitely stay tuned in. And, just grab yourself something to drink. We're going to talk about, I'm not going to be long with this, but we're going to dive in. And feel free to hit the like button, the share button, subscribe to the JT Effect, subscribe to the Black Boss channel if you haven't subscribed to that already. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll be right back in a few seconds.
Talk to me, just share with me your thoughts. Don't be afraid to talk to me and show me who you are. I wanna know. Talk to me.
It's the JT Effect. Nothing else can make you feel like that. It's the JT Effect. Nothing else can make you feel like that.
Talk to me, just share.
Again, hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the JT Effect. Again, I'm your host, John F. Thomas. Thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to hit the like button, the share button, subscribe button, leave a comment to let me know what you're thinking and what your thoughts are going so far with this Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. And before I go in, again, I know I've been away for a while. I've been extremely busy, but I'm so glad to be back with you. Thank you for having me back. Thank you for your patience with me. Again, hit that like button if you haven't already. So let's go ahead and dive into Kyle Rittenhouse. For those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Kyle Rittenhouse at the time was 17 years old when he went to Kenosha, and there was a civil unrest going on in Kenosha. Actually, I'll go ahead and share my screen so you can see what's going on and what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. And I'm also going to read this article as we go along so that you can be aware of what and who I'm talking about, and you can stay on the same page with me. So let me pull this up for you to see. Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse, he is this young man right here, and he was recently on trial for um, fatally shooting and killing two men and injuring a third one. And this, as it says here, during the civil unrest in Kenosha in 2020, so just a year ago, this happened. And recently, he was fully acquitted. On Friday, they found him not guilty on five counts. And a lot of people were it was a lot of different emotions going on. A lot of some people were happy, some people were really pissed. I've been seeing a lot of emotions going around and around, and I haven't really been trying to stay too connected to this case because, as we all know, if you are a person of color, and it's typically when there is a white person in this kind of situation, typically the law tends to go right for them. They tend to look at everything, look at the entire situation, and hey, if this happened, if that happened, okay, great, cool, and you're typically given a fair trial, and we know that, so that's not really a surprise. So, and this is basically what happened. I mean, basically what I figured, that he was going to be given a fair trial, and next thing you know, he probably would have ended up being acquitted for his crimes. And also, I did look, not just because simply because he's white, but like I said, he shouldn't be given a fair trial for the most part. But anybody should be given a fair trial. But because he's white, we do live in America. We know where we live, and they tend to be a lot fairer for them. Like I said, looking at all the issues. So looking at the video, and I was talking with my friend at the time, I was like, yeah, I remember, from what I remember looking at it back then when it was, so hot and everybody was looking at it, trying to understand what was going on. I did see him fleeing from his aggressors, the people who were kind of pursuing him and trying to get him to stop or get out of there or whatever the case was. And from my understanding, it still took to this point, he came down to help other business owners, or a business owner, protect their business, because there was a lot of riots going on from especially the George Floyd event, a lot of protests. There was some rioting, there was some looting, and a good portion of that. Let me be clear with this. I hate to give my politician speech, but like President Barack Obama and so many politicians says, let me be clear. So let me be clear that a lot of this, and we know a lot of Black people weren't really doing a lot of the rioting. Now, do we have a reason to riot? Yes. But a lot of us, majority of us, we wanted to protest peacefully. We wanted to protest, yes, aggressively, but we weren't trying to break things and burn things and destroy things. Now, was there looting by us? But yes, only because there were white people who came in, let's just call them, whatever they want to be, Antifa, whoever. And there's been plenty of videos where there's been I remember there was a Black woman pleading with this guy, like, hey, stop. We don't want, because, typically when these white people come in who aren't really a part of that protest group, like outsiders that's coming in and feeling like they're helping, or coming in just to cause mayhem, just for mayhem's sake. They come in and they start breaking glass, breaking windows, tearing stuff up, and then they cut out and leave. And that makes who look bad? It makes us look bad. And that's just a perfect example. We want to help Black people, but they going and they're tearing up stuff. And it's like, no, that's not even us. That's not even us doing that. So I say that to go back to this case here, where you do have this guy who is protecting a business, right? He's protecting this business. And some people are like, oh, he's racist, he's this, he's that. Okay, whether he was racist or not, that's not the point right now, because I don't really care. There's a lot of people who are racist that I talk to, or that I work with, or who are in charge of this and that. Yeah, there's a lot of racist people who pay us to do a lot of different things. That really doesn't matter, but it's like, okay, well, and also, if you think about it, if he's so racist, why didn't he kill any Black people? If this person is so racist, now let's just say, okay, he could be, he could not be. I don't know. That part really doesn't matter to me, though. Right? So I don't want to get emotional in this, because we tend to get emotional a lot. I don't want to really get emotional in that. So he went down there, and some white people just, hey bro, get out of here, whatever, yada yada yada. And maybe he said something to them. It doesn't really matter. There was some jabbering back and forth. A lot of people arguing back and forth, and they started to aggressively pursue him. And a lot of people are saying also with that, well, yeah, but he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Yeah, maybe. But if you think about with, Trayvon Martin, when, he was walking around in the neighborhood that he didn't live in, some people can say that he shouldn't have been there. If he wasn't there, because there was a lot of, cars being broken into and some criminal activity going on that their community didn't like. And so he was in a place that he shouldn't have been. But does that mean that he should have been killed or attacked himself or aggressively pursued because he was somewhere that he wasn't supposed to be? See, it's funny because it's all great when it fits your narrative, when you want it to fit your narrative. But when it doesn't fit your narrative, then you want to point out all this other stuff that you don't like. And it doesn't matter what you don't like and what you do like. I'm talking about facts. And I'm not talking about what I like and what I don't like and what I do like. That doesn't matter. I want to present the facts. I want to present what's important and what's really not. Like, what are the facts that led to him becoming not guilty? Because the law doesn't care about if you like people, if you don't like. It might lead up to something, but ultimately, like, what all did you do? What did you do? And did that influence anything else, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you said this morning or what you said last week about, I don't like Black people, or black people are ugly to me, or whatever. It doesn't matter if you said any of that. Especially if he didn't kill any Black people. Just Kyle Rittenhouse didn't kill any Black people. So I'm hearing he's a racist. I'm seeing a lot of Black people so upset and frustrated, and it's just like, why? Why? How is he a racist? I mean, he could be, but who cares? Who cares? You know how many police officers that are racist to pull me over? They could have killed me plenty of times, but they didn't. So what does him being a racist have to, especially when he killed other white people? Why are we invested in this so much so? Because we are emotionally manipulated in so many ways. We're drained. We're carrying water for so many people. We're fighting for this. We're fighting for that. Fighting for this and fighting for that. Who's fighting for us? We're fighting for all these other people. Who's fighting? You don't even have energy to fight for yourself. But you're trying to fight everybody's battles. That's not our battle. And the reason I say that, so let me go back to this article, because I'm not trying to be too long, but he was there. He was in Kenosha. He was supposedly helping defend this business, and but they were talking about a lot of these myths that has been going around, and I want to address that really quick. So this article, it's an article from Insider, written by Aaron Snodgrass, forgive me, and Michelle Mark. So the first myth is Kyle Rittenhouse illegally brought a gun across state lines. And basically saying perhaps the most persistent myth surrounding the case is the idea that Rittenhouse, then 17, brought an AR-15 across state lines. Rittenhouse lived about 20 minutes outside of Kenosha in Antioch, Illinois. His Illinois residence helped spur rumors that the teenager traveled to Wisconsin with his rifle illegally in tow. But during the trial, Rittenhouse testified in court that he drove himself from his home in Illinois to Kenosha on August 24th, 2020, the day before he fatally shot two men. The gun was already being stored at a friend's house in Kenosha, according to police records and court testimony. So, I guess at that point, he didn't illegally bring a gun across the state lines. They didn't find that illegal for him. So I mean, and that's what they found. So Kyle Rittenhouse, another myth. Kyle Rittenhouse possessed a weapon illegally. Rittenhouse and his friend Dominique Black testified that Black, who was 18 at the time, used Rittenhouse money to purchase the weapon at a Wisconsin hardware store in May 2020. The two reportedly agreed that Black would keep the gun until Rittenhouse turned 18 in January 2021, according to court testimony. Black is being prosecuted on participating in illegal straw purchase of the weapon on behalf of Rittenhouse, but Rittenhouse's possession of the firearm at the time was technically legal. Earlier this week, Judge Bruce Schroeder threw out a count of possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18 after Rittenhouse's defense argued the rifle was not short-barreled, capitalizing on an exception to the Wisconsin statute involving the barrel length of a gun. So, I mean, a lot of us, some people can get upset about that. Oh, that's the technicalities and all this stuff. It's like, hey, well, these laws are written for we can't get upset about these things if we don't know law. And I can't say that that's not me saying I know everything about the law, but these laws are here for a reason. And a lot of us don't really know what the laws are for some of the simplest of things. And you wanted to get upset about so many of these things, and you don't even know what the law says. So when these things happen and it says, well, the law says, well, that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't happen. And it's just like, well, if you would have known the law, you would have known what's legal and what's not legal. So, I mean, that kind of falls on us because we don't know what the law says, and we're just expecting certain things to happen when the law says differently. Now, can the law potentially be changed later on? Yes, but you have to know what the law is. And if he didn't break the law, he didn't break the law. You can't, just because that's not what you wanted to happen, you can't force a law to be broken that wasn't broken. So he didn't break the law there. There was another myth. Kyle Rittenhouse's mother drove him to the protest in Kenosha. And there was a rumor spread that she drove her teenage son to the protest. And in an interview, I think even the Democratic Republican Karen Bass of California propagated a falsehood alleging that Wendy accompanied her son over state lines so he can help law enforcement amid the unrest. But as Rittenhouse testified, the teenager drove himself to Kenosha ahead of the protest. He was 17, meaning that he was legal to drive himself if he can drive himself. So, and it says also here, Ritten did testify that his mother drove him to a local police station to surrender following the shootings. So she told him, look, you killed these people, you need to turn yourself in. So I will take you there to turn yourself in to allow justice to go about its way to run its course because you did this thing. You need to own up to what you've done. So, I mean, and that being said, so we have to acknowledge the facts here. Again, I'm not trying to be emotional, but let's look at the facts and let's get rid of these myths and stop spreading these myths. I mean, if you're hearing these things, mention that to people. Like, hey, look it up. Stop just saying stuff because you're so emotional and you want something to be true that's not. Let's just look at the facts. Also, so one thing they said it's unclear the people Kyle Rittenhouse shot were protesters. So, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe they were protesting, maybe they're not. I don't really care if they were or if they weren't. The people were there. I'm just assuming, I don't know, I'm assuming they were protesters and he killed them. So, I'm not even gonna be reading that because it's not important. Like I said, I only want to kind of talk about the facts. So one of the other myths is Rittenhouse went downtown on August 25th to answer a call to arms put out by a Kenosha military group. A Kenosha Guard militia group. A militia group on Facebook did issue a call to arms ahead of the violence on August 25th, but the tech company later confirmed that Rittenhouse had not been a follower of the flag page. Rittenhouse testified that he and Black went downtown because they were invited to guard the car source. That is a Kenosha car dealership, car source, during the unrest, and were under the impression that they were going to be paid. They had the idea, and I remember hearing that. They went to go protect some business. I didn't know the business. Now I know, car source, Kenosha car dealership, and they were supposed to be getting paid. They were under the idea that they were going to get paid for that. I'm not sure if they were paid or not. But the Kendry brothers, right, who owned the dealership, denied this under oath, but multiple other witnesses testified against them back in Rittenhouse's version. So you had, I don't know how many witnesses under this, because maybe they didn't even want to get involved, and they're like, you know what, nah, we didn't tell them that. I mean, because especially if you're about to get in some danger, you don't even want to touch that. So, but if you have multiple witnesses saying, no, they said they were going to do that, so you have this, it's you're outweighed. A lot of people said you did it because they saw you do it and they heard you do it. So at this point, you probably did it. All right. So the last myth that's going around: Kyle Rittenhouse is a self-identified white nationalist. The civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the Blake family, falsely described Rittenhouse on Friday as a self-declared white nationalist, but Rittenhouse has never publicly identified as a member of any extremist group. So there's one piece of evidence there. That doesn't mean that he's not, but there's one piece of evidence. He's never publicly identified. But we know that there's a lot of people who don't publicly identify as a lot of things, but they're involved with certain things. So let's keep that in mind. Because like I said, I'm going to be completely fair here, and I'm trying to look at and agree on all sides, grab all the evidence, and just be fair. After he pleaded not guilty to the initial charges in January 2021, prosecutors said Rittenhouse went to a bar in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, where he posted photos of members said to be of the Proud Boys while flashing a white power hand signal. His legal team said Rittenhouse did not know who the men were or what group they were affiliated with and was unfamiliar with the hand symbols' meanings. The judge noted that the prosecution did not find any evidence of his affiliation with a white supremacist group in phone records or social media history. As Michelle Mark previously reported, ruled the trip to the bar was not relevant to the 2020 shooting. So, and I say all of this to say, I mean, there are such things as coincidences, to where this thing might have happened, and maybe they had something to do with that, maybe not. Who knows? And maybe he did know them, maybe he didn't. Who knows? I mean, he could have been there, and as with, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people. I mean, this happened to me too. I've been around people and they, throwing us, especially if I ain't know any better, throwing us something. I'm gonna do it too. Oh, okay, I guess. Who knows what you might be doing? Especially white people do that a lot. They might throw up something. It's like, hey, especially around black people. Hey, you ain't a part of this. This, you throwing up some hooks or whatever. You think you can throw the hooks? No. That's cute. Or doing stuff where the alpha's throwing or something, and they try to do it. No. I mean, we've seen the videos of white people join us. They don't even know what they're doing. They just like, hey, this is what other people are doing. I want to do it too. So there is the benefit that he didn't know really who these people were. Like, they seem to be cool guys, and They throwing us, all right, cool. I'm gonna throw this up too, because it looks like an okay hand symbol. Like, hey, everything is a-okay. So that could be the case. Again, I don't know. But they also stated, remember that it did state that after doing some investigation, there wasn't any, they did not find any evidence of his affiliation with a white supremacist group in phone records. That says private phone records, text messages, phone calls, anything like that, or social media history. Because a lot of times we tell on ourselves via social media. They didn't even find anything in that sense. So that is led to believe that he probably did not know who this group was. He probably wasn't affiliated with this group. So with all of that being said, we have to take that as, okay, well, these are the facts. This is everything we can prove thus far. And with these facts, this clearly must be the case then. So with all of that being said, I say all this to say, ultimately, why are we, as the Black community, why, I mean, not all of us, but a good portion of us, why are we so invested into this? Why are we so invested into this? And it makes no sense. I mean, I know a lot of us say, man, but if it was a black person, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, of course. Of course, if it was a black person, they probably would not have been given nowhere near the same amount of fairness and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But also, why are we acting like this is a new thing? Why are we acting like this is new? This is not new. It's not new. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. Of course it's not fair, but life isn't fair. And the long lives that we have been living thus far, why are we still being surprised when the justice system works like it should, in general, like it should for this white person, and it doesn't really work for us? Now that part isn't fair. That part is messed up. That part is effed up, where it doesn't work for us, where it's not 100% fair across the board for us. And yeah, I know that, you know that, the man on the moon knows that, everybody really knows that. It should be fair for everybody across the board, but we know that it's not, and it hasn't been for how many years? For decades, centuries. It's been like that. So why are we still getting so emotionally invested and frustrated because he got off, because the facts were on his side? The facts were, so you're mad that the justice system actually worked and it shouldn't have worked for him. You wanted it not to work for him, even if he was potentially innocent via the facts. You wanted it not to work for him. You wanted him to go to jail forever. Like, how does that make sense? Then how do we get a fairness for us if the justice system just doesn't work? And I mean, yes, it's flawed. The justice system is flawed because it's supposed to work for everybody. But that's just how it is. I mean, it's just like, what? That's like people still getting upset. I can't believe this police officer, Baba, did this and did that. I can't. In 2020, it's going to be 2022 too soon. In 2022, we still having to deal with this. Of course, we're still having to deal with this. And it hasn't changed because we're not holding anybody accountable. Who are we holding accountable? We didn't, a lot of us didn't, well, I would say a lot of people didn't want Trump in office because, we need some change. So you brought in Biden in office. What has Biden done? And don't tell me that, well, he just got in office. He still needs some more time. Biden has passed a law quickly for the Asian community. Quickly. Didn't even sit down and really get a good read on it. He said, what? Oh, Asian, yep. Sign it off and send it away. Yeah, you can send that off. The Hispanic community, they were talking about giving them money for the people who were separated from their children under the Trump administration, when the parents were separated from the kids. Remember that? And the kids were put in cages and all that stuff. They were talking about giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars per person. I forgot the exact amount. If somebody remembers the exact amount, please put it in the comments. But yeah, it was crazy. You're talking about doing that, but when it comes to reparations for the Black people who helped put your butt in office, we need to talk about that. There's a bill sitting up there right now where just to study it, just to study what reparations would be, how much there would be, is sitting there. It hasn't even passed. They haven't even put it through. But yet you can do all this for all these other communities. But we have to wait. We had, oh, he hasn't been, he just got in office. He hadn't been there long enough. Come on. Come on, man. These are the reasons why these things keep happening to us. And it's crazy because we're still getting upset. If a person keeps slapping you and you keep getting, are you going to keep getting surprised by it? If a person, every week, this person comes up and slaps you, are you going to be surprised every week? After 7 weeks of getting slapped, are you still, I can't believe this person still just slaps me like that. Why doesn't he or she respect me? This is crazy. They just keep slapping me. Come on, that makes no sense. You wouldn't still be surprised because you know what's coming. You know what is about to happen. This person is going to slap you. Or they're going to try. So are you going to sit there and take it? Or are you going to say, hey, no, you're going to stop them from slapping you? Are you going to do something different? Because we keep doing the same thing. I'm going to vote for this other person to, tell this person to not slap me. So maybe this, if I vote this person in, I know we've been doing the same thing for years and years and years, and nothing has really happened. They've been throwing us parties, pizza parties and things like that. And hey, we respect Black People Day, but this person still keeps slapping me and they don't do anything about it. But maybe one day they will. Maybe if we keep voting for them. How does that make sense? Please explain to me how that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Again, if you're tuning in, if you've been watching, please hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment, share this video. That does a lot. If you hit the like button and share, I appreciate it. But I'm not going to stay on this too much longer. But I just wanted to say we have to stop putting ourselves in so many different fights. Why? Why are we so invested in this? No Black people were injured in this. Not one Black person was injured. Not one Black person was injured in this. Why are we so invested in this? Why? Why are we so angry? For what? Of course he was going to get off. Of course. I mean, I would have bet money on that. I would have bet some good money on that. So I say that to say we have to start thinking smarter. Stop thinking so emotionally because we're draining ourselves. We're re-traumatizing ourselves on some stuff that we should already know. We know this is going to happen. Chances are. So if that's the case, if you know chances are this thing is going to happen, what can you do different to change the outcome then? What can you do to make the outcome different for yourself? And I say that to say if we really want to see a change for Black people in a similar situation, if they find themselves in a similar situation as Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever, where they're using self-defense, then we need to start having more Black judges. We need to start having more Black politicians, and not Black politicians who get up there and don't really do nothing for us, but Black politicians who actually do something. And we have these elections where there are Black people who want to change the game, who want to do radical new things for Black people, really hold these other people accountable. But we don't vote them in because we're used to the person who's already in office. Maybe it's an older Black person who, listen, they haven't really done anything, but it's like, well, I'm used to that person. And I know this new person, but I'm gonna vote for this. I'm used to that person. I don't know about this new person. And then you wonder why nothing changes. Because young new blood is trying to come in to make a change. They're from their community. They understand what's wrong with the community and they want to make a change, but you don't go out and vote for them. I'm not saying you specifically. If you go and vote, I appreciate you. But a good portion of us don't go out and vote differently because we're so. Hillary Clinton, perfect example. 2016, when they were voting, Bernie Sanders was coming in. He was invigorating so many people. But a lot of people didn't want to vote for Bernie because they were just used to Hillary Clinton. Like, well, I remember Hillary Clinton, and she was Bill Clinton, and I don't want to have to look up anything else because you don't want to have to do the work for yourself to see if this politician is even worth voting for. You don't want to do the work to see if this person can bring something different. You just used to what you're getting. And then you complain about it. Why things are still the same. You can't throw a rock and then play innocent and play the victim. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do that. Or you can't not get yourself involved in anything and then get mad about what's happening. You're not even involving yourself. You're not taking the time to learn. You're not taking the time to study. You're not taking the time to see what's going on around you in your neighborhood, in your city, in your town, in your state, in your country, in nothing. So we have to take some personal responsibility with what's happening. Now, is everything entirely our fault? No. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't take personal responsibility. If you were given bad cars, are you just going to expect everybody to feel sorry for you and want to change everything for you? Oh, you're so poor baby. Oh no, this thing. Oh, okay, come here. Let me change. You don't want nobody to treat you like a child. Stop treating yourself like a child. There's so much that we can do to help ourselves. Why are we waiting? Why are we putting our weight behind all these other people who don't even care about us? And I know some people are sitting there saying, "Oh, one of the guys that was killed was a pedophile," and all this stuff. Look, I don't know. I don't really care. All I know is, like I said, going back to the facts, they pursued this young man, and he had a weapon on him. And I know some people were saying too that, well, they didn't have any weapons on him. He shouldn't have shot at him if they didn't have any weapons. What if you gonna go there with a gun? You shouldn't have. Yeah. But if you're in that situation and you see an unruly crowd come at you, you don't know what they're gonna do. You can still get seriously harmed, serious body harm with somebody without your hands are weapons. Your hands can be weapons. So that person can really hurt you without having a gun, without having a bat, without having a knife. You can still get seriously injured or die. So with all that being said, it doesn't matter if they didn't have a gun. If he felt, and all this group of people, it's not one person, but a group of people, and we've seen videos from both sides, the right and the left, where somebody that's there and they don't like what that person is saying, opposite of what they're saying, they start attacking that person. They'll punch the person in the face, start kicking the person, throwing rocks at the person, pushing the person on the ground, jumping them, beating them up. We know how unruly it is. So don't sit here and act like this was a peaceful crowd. Like, oh, well, they didn't even have any guns. So what's the point? Why was he there? Why did he shoot? And they didn't even have any gun. Also, one of them did have a gun, and he tried to say he didn't have a gun, but there was footage that he did. I mean, they found out that he actually did have a gun. So he was defending himself. So you can't tell a person how to defend themselves. So if somebody's coming to me and if I have a knife, oh, but they don't have knives, I need to put my knife down. Well, let me play fair. Let me put my knife down so that way we can all be on equal playing field. No, screw that. I'm protecting my life. I'll worry about equal playing field later. There's a lot of you and one of me. So whatever I have to defend my life, that's what I'm going to use. I mean, again, I'm just saying this. Let's not get ourselves so invested in this. And no black people were killed. It has nothing to do with this. This is at this point white on white crime. Remember, they talk about black on black crime so much. They don't want to get involved. Why are we involved with this? It has nothing to do with us. So that's all I have to say. Papa Nada said I'm bucking. And Red 5 Golf says self-defense is not a crime. It's not. It's not a crime. Also, I mean, if you see somebody, I mean, I get the idea of, oh, this person could hurt a lot of people because they could be an active shooter. Let me stop this person with a gun. But also, common sense needs to kick in too. If you don't have a gun, if you can't equal that threat of a person with a gun, if I see somebody with a gun and they shoot somebody in the crowd, and I'm not going to run up and try to grab the gun from them. This isn't a movie. I'm not trying to play superhero or whatever. Now, if somebody wants to, that's their choice. But also know that if you're running towards that person, you are risking your life. Are you trained for that? Are you willing to throw your life, potentially away or not throw your life away? That's bad. That's wrong. Are you willing to risk your life to stop this person, and the chances of you surviving aren't high, especially if you're not trained. And I'm not saying trained in the sense of being a police officer or trained in the sense of being in the military. You can be trained on your own. You can train with some people and not really be a part of the police or the military. I'm just saying you're just not trained in general. So I mean, if I'm in a group and somebody gets shot, I'm running. I'm not trying to die. I'm not trying to die today. It's not my time right now, if I can help it. So why am I running up there trying to wrestle the gun away from him? If I die, at that point, that was on me trying to wrestle this gun away. But also, if I know because that would be different if a person just came up and just started shooting in the crowd. Then if I felt like being Mr. Hero, okay, fine. But if we are following this person, we are antagonizing this person, and then he shoots one of the people because he got scared. Why am I? Get the gun. I'm in the right now. No. You chase after this dude with a gun. So guess what happened? You could have just left him alone. Could have left him alone. If he's there to protect the store, let him protect the store. He ain't got nothing to do with us. And that's an issue that I have, where there's a lot of white people that involve themselves, not all, but there's a good portion of them involve themselves into our protest, and they get extra buck. And we don't need that. I don't need you to get extra buck. Why? Why are you getting an extra buck? So now we're having to deal with the backlash of that, because they're going to tag that onto us. Same thing like the video where the black girl was crying, trying to tell them white dudes to stop destroying their business that had nothing to do with them. She was like, no, that's not what we're here for. We're trying to have a peaceful protest. And they come in, they don't care. They won't listen to her. That pissed me off even more, because you wouldn't even listen to the black woman, which supposedly, and we already know the black woman ain't really respected that much, but you have this other group that's coming in and not even listening to that black woman who was in charge, but they just said, forget you being in charge. We're doing what we want to do. We know better than you in this situation. So the Papa Naya said the bigger question is, why was a 5-time convicted child rapist on the streets chasing the you know, that is a question. That is a question there. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We talk about this justice system. We want to look at certain things. Why was he out there? And supposedly he raped like five different children on the street or something like that. I don't know. He was still on the streets. Why is that? I don't know. But that goes back to showing that our justice system is flawed. It's flawed. Clearly it's flawed, because this man was out on the streets. Probably shouldn't have been out on the streets. But again, like I said, I was just focusing on just the facts at hand. I mean, because same way like the Republicans try to look at the past history of, or I won't say the Republicans, but the right tries to look at, if it's a black person that's been killed and they didn't have a weapon, they try to look at the whole history to kind of, paint this person as bad. Oh, look at all the stuff they did, but he stole candy from this candy store. We shouldn't care about him. He was a criminal anyway. In the same way, like the left tries to look back and look at all that. I mean, yes, we can do that, but just looking at the facts, self-defense. So I don't know. Like this is a flawed system. We live in a flawed world. So I mean, if you're going to point out the hypocrisies, you have to point out the hypocrisies within yourself too, within your own. What the stuff that I'm saying, what I say that if it was flipped the other way around, a lot of people aren't asking that. But that being said, I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to follow the Black Boss channel if you haven't already. This should be up there at some point. I couldn't upload this to the Black Boss channel at the time, but I'm pretty sure later on it will be. Also follow the JT Effect if you have not. Follow the JT Effect. I'll start putting up more videos. I apologize for this taking so long for me to come back, but I've been really, really busy. I'm also acting and doing my thing there. So I've been really trying to, sharpen up a lot of things. That's why I've been just doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I've been doing a lot of work and really trying to sharpen some things up so that way I can come back even harder. But thank y'all for tuning in. Please feel free to Again, hit the like button, share this video so that more people can see, so we can get these other perspectives out there. So it's not just what the media wants us to listen to and wants us to think. We have to start thinking, ask ourselves questions, uncomfortable questions. It's okay. Me asking you a question doesn't mean that well, this person is a racist or whatever. We got to start, because it's really, the divide is really starting to grow now, because people don't want to have conversations unless you're agreeing with me. If you're not agreeing with me, you're racist, you're a-hole, you're this, you're that, and that's not leading to anything good in the future. I mean, so we have to have these uncomfortable conversations in order to really move forward. And we might not agree, and that's okay if we don't agree. That's all right. But at least we're having a conversation. We're trying to learn and figure out how to move forward. You don't have to agree with everything to still be friends with me. You don't have to agree with everything to be on my side and all this other stuff. Sometimes we're not going to see eye to eye, and that's okay. I'm not going to kill you over it. So man, I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. I'm gonna be doing some more JT effects. So thank you. I've heard, I forgot who mentioned it, but somebody was asking when I was coming back, and I saw it, and I heard you, and I appreciate it, and I love y'all. If you want to contribute to the JT effect some more, I'll pop this up for those who care. If you want to patronize and help the JT effect out, get even bigger, how you want to, like I said, you liking this video, that's great. But also, you can give $1, $5, or $10 just going to anchor.fm/JTFX/support. You would be giving $1, $5, or $10 a month. But if you just want to give a one-time fee, or if you want to give more than that, you can go to paypal.me/ThomasHarryVisions. Again, it's paypal.me/ThomasHarryVisions, or just cash at me at cash symbol Thomas Harry Visions. So that's different ways that you can help, support, share, all this other kind of stuff. I appreciate it. I love y'all. I will be back with more videos. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you, Vincent, for tuning in and listening. I appreciate it. I really want for us to start thinking a lot clearer and stop thinking so emotionally, thinking a little bit more logically. We can be emotional, but use our emotions in the right way, in the right circumstance. We're throwing our emotions out there, and everything that comes out, and you're exhausted, you're tired, and you're not even ready to be willing to put your energy into stuff we need to put our energy into, like building stuff up for ourselves and loving ourselves, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's another conversation that I can go on there for a while. Anyway, love y'all. Peace. Again, feel free to like, share, leave a comment, and I'll see y'all the next time. All right. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy your